Israel, in a sense, is one of the problems, not the problem. And the problem is around Iran and the Arab countries. And this is a terrible thing that they have done. All of them have offered their countries, their economies, their gifts, of course, to your own president. And basically, they allowed the West to use the Arab space as a space of war against Iran without precedent. So Iran is not just fighting the West, but is also fighting most of the Arab countries that are part of this. And that's very shameful. First of all, the Arab countries are Muslim. And I don't understand what is in it for them, apart from their own destruction. In Israel, they are now talking about destroying Turkey next, Pakistan, and Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is serving, I'm not talking about the other countries, they're all serving the American cause. And at the same time, they are putting themselves in danger of being the next to be attacked. So this is really idiotic. What I'm very worried about, and I'll be very interested to hear what you have to say about this, Dr. Marandi, is I think that Iran can and does cause damage to Israel. It's not standing aside this time. And I don't think it should have at all been negotiating, because the negotiation was just a ruse and a cover-up for the attack, like the first time. There is no way you can negotiate with Kushner and Witkoff or with Trump, and the Russians have found that out as well. So what Israel is now facing is destructive. They may well regret, and I hope they do regret, what they have done. All the damage, not just in the last 2 days, but all the damage that they have caused to Iran over the years. I hope they regret that. But the danger is that both Israel and the United States are nuclear powers. And as they run out of ammunition, which they will, and the Americans will run out of ammunition before the Iranians. We know that from the 12-day war, where they came running to the Americans. The Israelis came running to the Americans and said, "Get me out of here. We're running out of, missiles, and we can't. Our defense is short." So once this happens, it may happen in a week. It may happen in 2 weeks or more. In Israel, they're talking about few days to end the war. This is like they were talking about in the same way in 2023 when Hamas attacked on the 7th of October, and they said there will be 7 or 10 days and we will finish them. So if they, after 2.5 years, they're still fighting Hamas, they think they can defeat Iran at all, and not to talk about few days. So I think what is very frightening here is when Israel realizes that they are running out of ammunition, conventional ammunition, they may use what is in Israel called the Samson option. I'm terrified about this because this will not just harm Iran, it will harm the whole Middle East, and actually is likely to cause the Third World War, a nuclear Third World War.
Can you explain what the Samson option is for people who don't know?
Well, the Samson option relates to the fact that Samson in the Bible, in order to defeat the Palestinian of his time, which were called the Philistines, brought the roof down on everyone, including. Right. So the Samson option is a suicidal option. And Israel is the most likely country everywhere, anywhere, to do that. And Trump is the most likely president to support him in such an action. And I think that will force the Chinese and the Russians into a nuclear war. And, we are all written off. So I think I'm very worried, not about Israel winning, because I don't think that is going to happen, but I'm very worried about Israel losing and then using that card.
Right. So a question to both of you is, what on earth, and I know we're not inside of people's minds, but what is motivating this? Because there's so much talk of the U.S. doing Israel's bidding, and of course there is a very strong Israel lobby, but it's not like there aren't neocons in the U.S. government, and it's not like there isn't a kind of indigenous native, as in native to the U.S. government. I'm not talking about people, obviously.
Oh my God, I'm the tall guy in our group. Every group is like a tall guy. I'm the tall guy. I mean,
you have Jewish Zionism, you have Christian Zionism, you have this Greater Israel Project. In fact, Brad just texted me.
Everyone's a big guy.
Israel is all about building Greater Israel, and much like the Nazis, will not stop trying to take more and more territory unless they are stopped. And here we go. Okay, but in the case of Israel, support in the West is rooted in Christian evangelicals. Oh wait, I didn't see. Can you show the first one, Brad? Your first one? I only see this second one. Or do you not have that one? Okay, they're trying to create Greater Israel, and they will not stop unless they're stopped. Same way Trump is trying to create Greater America. But in the case of Israel, its support in the West is rooted in Christian evangelicals et al., who believe this is all in pursuit of bringing about biblical prophecy or whatever.
She kept texting me to try to.
But Israel is all about building Greater Israel, and much like the Nazis, will not stop trying to take more and more territory unless they are stopped. In my opinion. So I mean, this is how does the world deal with this? I keep saying,
I was like, it's not nice to cheat on them like that.
That there has to be some kind of global cooperation.
She was always trying.
The only, I mean, we don't have the Soviet Union anymore, right? Obviously, the only way it seems like the West, and it's not just the West, I guess, it's the West and its Arab enablers or its Arab conspirators, collaborators. Can be stopped is if the many governments that are less powerful unite together and cause, military damage or economic damage.
We broke up, and then
what is
her best friend was trying to fuck me.
I know it's an overwhelming question, but Dr. Marandi and then Haim, please.
Well, first,
and then she had Danielle had like a graduation party, and she invited me to it.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
And like Lexi were there, people there,
West,
and then me and Danielle went into her bedroom.
Oh, 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you. Please, this is not out of insecurity or self-validation. We have over 15,000 people watching, and very few have liked. And I know that's not because you don't like it. It's just because I haven't trained you yet well enough, because we have a lot of new people. Like the
I didn't think about that until the
you don't want the bots. We do have more bots than usual to win, and also you don't want the algorithmic suppression and tech bros to win either. They don't want people hearing this. Despite that, we have a lot of viewers. But please like the stream and share it, because we need as many people as possible to hear this. Okay, sorry. Back to you, Dr. Marandi.
Sure.
The girls can't resist.
Please like so that
Kristen's friends all tried to fuck
all
me.
the things that
what are you trying to do?
He said would happen, and that the bots would be defeated.
Yes.
That's what happens when they do that. But basically, Iran is a country.
Fumble? What do you mean fumble?
Very diverse schools.
What have I ever fumbled?
Very different.
Never fumbled a football. Nope.
But in the West, they say it's a dictatorship, and so it's.
I never fumbled a chick either. Never chick I fumbled.
Rule. It's not at all like that. So in Iran, you do have a significant number of people who believe that we should.
Who's that?
And they think that there may be a solution. I agree with you. During the first series of negotiations, and the more recent ones, meaning 8-9 months ago.
Oh, the blonde one.
Was convinced that we're not going to get a solution.
No, she was by. I didn't turn her into a lesbian.
In 2015 during Obama, I was there. I was with the team.
Who wrote the story?
And I told Dr. Zarif, who was the foreign minister back then, that I don't think the Americans are going to abide by their commitments. and they did it under Obama.
You were an advisor.
She was freaky as shit.
I was a media advisor.
She had like,
yes.
I think she had to be like a team mom.
So I've been skeptical for a long period of time. But there are a number of things. One is that if the
I wouldn't recall that much of a
state,
fumble.
If the government, if the administration,
Come on, where's the fumble?
or at least parts of the state, want
fumbled the
more
threesome. I'll give you that one. I fumbled the
to
threesome for
negotiate.
sure. But
And the government
it was with two crazies,
or the
so
state
you know,
decides not to do
it was a light fumble. It was like a fumble and then a recovery.
If something happens,
you know,
Americans
it was like a
will
fumble
say,
and then a recovery.
Exactly.
Unfortunately,
there was a
unfortunately,
solution.
it is.
You refrain from even talking.
I do attract the crazies.
So it's your fault.
Right.
And you know how Western media works. You know how Western think tanks work. As we speak, we negotiated. There was progress. The United States again carried out a blitzkrieg attack, and Western media is blaming Iran. And even those who are opposed to the war, they say Iran is evil, but we shouldn't attack.
Well, at least
And
I didn't get banned on Tinder.
In the previous show that we were talking.
So at least I didn't get banned on Tinder.
I believe that these people are just as bad as the neocons because they legitimize aggression by saying that the Iranians are evil or the Venezuelans are evil. No, if anyone's evil, it's the country that wants to wage war, not the victim. So that even using that language and opposing war enables war because it sort of it attempts to, or at least effectively legitimizes it or makes it seem legitimate, not that it really is legitimate. But in any case, so if there's war, then these people will say, look what you brought upon us. We could have had a solution, but you were stubborn, you refused to talk. So the Iranians negotiated. It's useful for internal politics, internal public opinion, but also external public opinion, because again, the Western media is hostile towards Iran. So at least if the Iranians are trying, or at least seen to be trying, then countries in the global south that have influence, they would understand, or they would see that, yes, the United States is not being honest, the United States is just using this as a ruse, and it is secretly conspiring. In both cases, that's what the United States did in the last year. That the negotiations were simply a tool so that the United States could attack Iran. That's my interpretation. So I agree, but I do think that it is necessary at times to negotiate, because if you have and remember, the United States, and Iran is unique in this regard, the United States and the West have built an elaborate Persian language media apparatus that's hostile towards Iran, hundreds of media outlets. There are more anti-Iranian media outlets outside of Iran than there are media outlets inside Iran. And they're extremely hostile, and they're very well funded. And there are troll farms in Albania. They have one that, as I said, posts thousands of people. So these media outlets are constantly trying to, based on the interests of Western governments, tell Iranians that you could have had a deal, but you insisted, your government insisted, they were stubborn, they were mule-headed, and we were forced to act. Of course, that doesn't legitimize war anyway, but you get what I'm saying. So I think in many instances, the government or the state has to do certain things that may seem useless and a waste of time, but it does so in order to, well, in case, let's say there's a 1% chance that somehow Trump comes to his senses and actually does a deal, well, they will take that opportunity. But the other 99% is that they want to show the Iranian public as well as the international community that we're not the problem.
Right. Yeah, very true.
And then we get to your much deeper question, which I'll do the listening.
Okay. Take it away, Haim. You know, easy question: how to stop Israel, which is acting like, you know, the Nazis, basically.
Basically, Israel
and the West supporters, yeah.
Israel is the destructive engine, the chaos engine of the West. This is how it started.
I like Peanut even more now. They were asking him about the war, the bombings, and everything. He goes, I don't know what's going on. And he goes, I play video games, I eat burgers, and I get drunk.
The brightest light in the Arab world.
Fuck everyone everywhere.
And his pan-Arabism program of having a new modern Arab world.
Your generation.
The minute he talked about that, he became a target.
No. You've been hating all day on everything.
Of course. And so Israel started with the colonial powers and is still with the colonial powers. One thing which is good is that the colonial
you're
powers
an artificial
adult.
I wouldn't call it intelligence, but you're artificial. That's
in terminal decline. And Israel is sharing also this terminal decline. I believe that Zionism is on the way out because it is a movement of the 19th century and we're living in the 21st. But that might be too optimistic. But what is in it for Israel and what do we need to do in order to defeat it? Israel is living on death and destruction, on blood. Yeah, it's a kind of a militarized vampire nation. They live on producing death and destruction and advertising as a way of selling their wares, which are all causing death and destruction. And they sell it by the unwritten line tried on Palestinians in Gaza. They don't need to tell anyone that that's what they have done. Actually, a lot of these weapons don't work. And we've seen that in the 12-day war. But they sell. That's the most important thing. And now Europe, due to the situation in Ukraine, Europe is a great buyer of those systems that don't work, like, Kippad Barzel, all those systems that don't work are selling very well. They're also selling to India. India is a major buyer of Israel, and India, of course, is a nuclear nation. So Israel is now helping India by working with the Baluchis, which, of course, they are no strangers to the situation in Iran as well, with the Baluchis against Pakistan. So Israel has worked out a plan of how to control Western Asia and is well on the way to achieving it. And Mark Huckabee, shall I call him the ambassador of Israel in Israel? Because he's definitely not an ambassador of the United States, and he doesn't represent real American needs and values. I believe the American people are a decent people with a great history. So they don't need this government and its dogs. And he's one of the dogs. He's a Christian Zionist. He's slightly more extreme than Netanyahu, probably. And totally in agreement that Israel can take, he said that. Not
take it all.
Yeah, take it all, we'll help you. Yeah, take it all. So all this is done for a reason. The Israelis act with a lot of sadism, but sadism is not the motive. The motive is control. The motive is running the Middle East. And Iran is standing there as a great opposition to that aim and objective of Israel. So unless the way they think about it, unless we move Iran out of the way, and that means total destruction, it's not Venezuela. They can't do that. And they know that. So what they want to do to Iran is total destruction of the state, the society, the culture. I mean, Iranian culture is 5,000 years old. So we're talking about a destruction on so many levels. They're talking about returning Iran to the Stone Age. This is the kind of talk that Israelis are very good at. And they're very good at killing little babies, the children, you know, tens of thousands of children already in Gaza in the genocide. So the first thing they did, actually, on the first day is killed those little girls. This is, in a sense, a signature of the Israeli system. This is their signature. And you know, they have good information and intel on Iran. And yet, this is the first thing they do. So they didn't do it by instinct. They did it because they wanted to do it. They wanted to break the morale of the Iranian people. The Iranian people are stronger than that. I do believe that. So this is functional. This brutality, this cruelty, this madness is very calculated. It is functional. It is there in order to take over the Middle East. And that's why Iran, and later, they're now talking about it in Hebrew every day. Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia will have to disappear as a functioning state. Now, remember, they're not just talking. They have done that in Libya, in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Yemen, in the Horn of Africa. Everywhere where the Israelis touch, they touch with death, with death and destruction. And the societies will take maybe 100 years to come back to where they were before the Israelis were involved. So I want to end by saying that this is no longer about Gaza. It's not even about Iran. It is about the project of controlling an important part of the world, which Iran is at the heart of, which Iran has been at the heart of for the last thousands of years. And that's why they will attack it, because it is an important cultural and now also an important nation in many other ways. I mean, not least of all, Iran is an industrial force, despite the attacks, despite the fact that since 1953, the West has not allowed Iran to breathe. I mean, the Iranian society, the Iranian people, the Iranian culture. So the revolution came and changed that, and that is why Iran must be attacked, must be finished as a functioning society, because it is in the way of the project of controlling the Middle East. So until Zionism is finished, I don't talk about killing people. I'm talking about, ideology. You mentioned the Nazis, Katie. Yes, that's what we're talking about. This is an equivalent of, for Jews to come up with something which is an equivalent of Nazism is a terrifying thing. It really is a sad reflection on humanity. Until that ideology and that practice is brought to a heel, none of us is safe. So what can we do? Well, we can do a lot of things, actually. BRICS is not doing enough.
Yeah.
I'm saying this not because I'm against BRICS, but because I think it has to do more in order to save our legal systems, in order to save the UN. Maybe the UN is not possible.
In order to save the world, maybe, and humanity.
Exactly. Yeah, to save humanity, to save the planet first. And all this, the wells burning, the explosions. Gaza now is unlivable because they poisoned the air, they poisoned the earth, they poisoned the water, they poisoned the sea. We must stop Zionism so we can get Israel out of the UN. Why is Israel in the UN? Within few years, South Africa was removed from the UN because of apartheid. Now, Israel is 1,000,000 times more evil than South Africa ever was. So why is it still in the UN? Why is Israel the only country that never suffered any sanctions? Look at the sanctions that Iran has since 1980. Within a week of Russia moving into Ukraine, it's immediately suffered incredible sanctions. There are sanctions against China, there are sanctions against many countries, but not against Israel. What's the reason for that? So I think we have ways of controlling things like this, but we are not actually employing those methods. Why are people still trading with Israel? They didn't trade with South Africa. Why are universities in my country here working with universities in Israel, which are training the murderers? So there is a whole range of available sanctions. I just want to end by saying, any system of justice needs sanctions. If a murderer is not punished, then murder is possible. It's regulated, it's regularized, it's normalized. That's what we have. So either the UN is operating in a manner that seems to be objective. In other words, if this country is causing the harm, and another country is causing a similar harm, they need both to be punished. And actually, at the moment, the only people who are punished are the victims, like the Palestinians, the Iranians, etc. So I think this is unacceptable and will bring to the end of humanity through means which we now see. So we all share the need to control Zionism.
And I should also add, when you were talking about how this is, I'll just add that Haim's parents were both survivors of the Holocaust, so it's pretty painful and ironic, obviously, for you to see what the Israeli state is doing vis-a-vis being equivalent to Nazis. Dr. Marandi, what's your response to this? And also, let us know, you are probably exhausted. It's late where you are, later where you are, where Haim is. So I'm happy to keep Haim prisoner longer and later than you. But let us know, of course, if you need to tend to anything.
I'll have to leave in about 10 minutes. But as rightly pointed out, apartheid in Palestine is far worse than in South Africa. When Archbishop Desmond Tutu visited Palestine, and he was from South Africa, of course, for your younger viewers and listeners. He said that things in Israel or in Palestine are far worse than in South Africa, and this was far before October the 7th. This was years ago. He's passed away. So, boycotts that we saw in South Africa, the Western governments were supporting apartheid South Africa, but gradually under pressure from civil society, they began to distance themselves. But in the case of the Israeli regime, it's really extraordinary how the links and the bonds are so strong. And the British government that we were discussing earlier, it's been carrying out intelligence flights over Gaza during the whole course, and as genocide goes on, and almost since the beginning of the genocide, it's been carrying out intelligence flights over Gaza to help the Israelis with their genocidal assault on Gaza. So that's the West today. The Germans, when Netanyahu attacked Iran during the 12-day war, last time the German chancellor said Netanyahu does our dirty work for us.
Right, that was insane.
And just today, the German chancellor, as Iran is being assaulted, says Iran is illegitimate. So everything that is done to Iran is legitimized through these, or at least given an aura of legitimacy through these narratives. and everything that Israel does is legitimized through these narratives, and it's extraordinary. So it is an uphill battle. Of course, to add some optimism, the mood is changing, even in the West. I saw a Jewish law professor from Harvard. Unfortunately, I didn't say his name, but I saw him give a presentation at some hearing, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
Where he was saying, I guess you know who I mean, but a young man, lawyer, well-spoken, but he was saying that we cannot equate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, and he was saying that I think he said that a young American Jew between the age I may be wrong a bit, but between 19 or 18 and 29 or something like that. The majority of them, I think he said, consider themselves to be anti-Zionist Jews. But let's say non-Zionist Jews. But this is how I remember it. It was online. It was on YouTube, so I'm sure your viewers could find it.
Yeah.
But the point is that the mood is changing, and young people in the United States think differently than the older generation. And we saw the poll come out, I think it was Pew, I may be wrong, I haven't checked. But a couple of days ago, where for the first time, sympathy for Palestinians is greater than for Israel. So you see the young Jewish population, young Americans in general, and of course across the world it's even more so, because the United States is the most heavily propagandized country in the world and the most pro-Zionist. Especially with the very large number of Christian Zionists that they have. And Huckabee, of course, the outrageous things that he said may seem outrageous to us, but to that segment of the Christian Zionist population, I suppose they see it all as absolutely acceptable. And I personally think this is unofficial Western policy and unofficial U.S. policy. Just like the two-state solution, it was never really Western policy. It was just a way to buy time so that the Israelis could colonize. The unofficial policy was to allow Israel to colonize the West Bank, but they would give lip service to the two-state solution. Here, I think this is the same. They talk about sovereignty and that Israel should not colonize, but unofficially, I think that Huckabee's position is the position in Washington and probably many European capitals as well. So you do have this reality that the wealth and power and the political establishment is completely on the side of the Israeli regime. And of course, mainstream media and legacy media or Epstein-class media is completely captured, and so is social media platforms to a large degree. But despite all that, you see the younger generation, which is not very powerful financially or politically, but still it's a force to reckon with. And even some older people, I think older people to a lesser degree are shifting. They are changing. So what happens? How long will this take? What will be the end result? I don't know. But getting back to Iran, I don't believe that the United States and the Israelis will succeed. And I personally think that murdering Ayatollah Khamenei, making him a martyr, actually strengthens the resistance and makes people more determined and steadfast, not just in Iran, but also in Iraq and other places where the resistance has a lot of sympathy and support. And we're seeing sympathy and support grow. The number of people in different countries and different parts of the world that have shown support for Ayatollah Khamenei over the last day and a half is quite extraordinary. But I think that ultimately the Israeli regime and the Americans they'll fail. In war, everyone loses. I mean, war is just a terrible thing. I've lived through war, and I can say that with great confidence. In war, everyone loses. But relatively speaking, or let's say, for the United States not to win, that's a failure. And I think that the cost of this war, both financial, direct and indirect, and the burden of the war is going to increase. And I think that ultimately Iran is going to deal the United States and the Israeli regime a strategic defeat. It will come at a great cost. You know, as we're speaking, as I said, there were at least 2 explosions, one very close by. And so, you know, I'm sure some people are either dead or injured, or property has been destroyed, or, you know, this is going on day and night, every day. So I don't want to ignore the reality that war is a horrible thing. But I think that U.S. failure means Iran's victory. And if the United States fails, and I think it will be very difficult for the United States ever to return again for a second round, especially as the world is changing and as the West is declining, as was, in my opinion, rightly pointed out. So I do see signs to be optimistic, but I also see why we could, if someone was pessimistic, I would understand that. But we have to see how things play out. It's a very complicated thing. It's quite extraordinary for me that Huckabee says the quiet part out loud, and Turkey continues to transport oil from Baku. The Emirates continues to have a relationship. All of these countries are giving the United States the capability to attack Iran, whereas a weakened Iran would make the chances of the Israeli regime turning on them much more likely. So, and I think the reason is that these regimes are proxies. Turkey is a bit different, but Turkey is in the American camp. And we saw that when Trump had his really silly show in Egypt after the ceasefire, the circus, Erdogan went and helped whitewash the genocide that Trump carried out. And he had his hand on his chest, and when Trump said he's my close friend, whenever I needed him, he was there for me. So I'm not optimistic about any of these governments, but I think that Iran's resistance will bear fruit.
Yeah, and just so people know, I just want to share some quick updates. I'm just looking at the CBC, and some of the latest updates are the Pentagon confirmed Sunday that 3 U.S. troops have been killed. The first American casualties of the conflict, now on the second day. Iran's military has lashed out against the strikes with missiles targeting ships and countries across the Middle East.
You're welcome.
Israeli medics say at least 8 people were killed in a blast near Jerusalem.
About time you're thinking me.
Iranians were gathering Sunday for the funeral of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. It says also here, who was killed along with about 40 other senior members of the Islamic Republic's regime in the initial onslaught. Intelligence gathered over months by the CIA and shared with Israeli counterparts led to the missile strike that killed Khamenei and other officials. A person familiar with the matter confirmed to CBS News. And Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said his country's strikes on Iran, quote, will increase even more in the coming days. And, quote, President Trump said he's agreed to speak with Iran and said the military operation is proceeding, quote, ahead of schedule, end quote. And also, apparently, there are going to be talks between Trump and Iran's new leadership. So, just wanted to share some of that.
Highly unlikely, the last part.
Yeah.
If it's okay, I'd love to stay, but
no.
I'm forced to go.
No, please do. Yes, please stay safe. Hope best. Thinking of you, all the people of Iran, you and your family. And please come back soon. Although after, hopefully, you'll get some rest.
You're a honker.
First, because we need you healthy. Yeah.
We're with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
See you soon, hopefully.
Yes, inshallah. Wow, I always love talking to Dr. Marandi. So, Haim, you've also been very generous with your time. Anything you want to make sure that we cover? I mean, I have tons of questions, and I know you probably have to get back to a protest or organizing or a Zoom or a webinar on the one state. What do you want to make sure that we cover?
I think we covered quite a lot between the two of us, between the three of us, rather.
Yeah.
So basically, what I want to say that I didn't talk about is Israel capable of continuing for very long? And very briefly, I do not believe that, and I want to explain why. I can't prove it. A country which is living off the dead and of killing is not a human society. We had societies like this in history. They did not survive very long. So the Nazi regime has survived 12 years. Well, 12 years is not a long time. Israel has already eclipsed that by quite a lot. But the Nazi regime was much stronger than Israel, all told. It did not control the West, but it controlled most of Europe, and it didn't survive. So I don't think that history is full of examples of such a brutal regime like Israel doing all the things that it's doing and the things that it's planning to do, which are even worse, allowed to continue. So with Dr. Marandi, I try to be very carefully optimistic about the human race. We need to do certain things in order to guarantee our rightful existence. Rightful, I mean, one that is not hostile to each other, to the environment, to living things, and to the planet itself, to our home. Zionism is against all that. The Western leading nations are against all that. And not surprisingly, they also deregulated all the methods of destroying the world with the Trump regime in the first instance, and now it continues. So if we want to go into the future, which is promised and possible, and even likely, if we do the right things, then we need to get rid of the madmen amongst us.
Right.
So the human society cannot live with the Trump and with the Netanyahu that now rule most of the evil in the world. And the question, does Netanyahu run Trump, or does Trump run Netanyahu, I think has now been resolved. And I'm not going to say the obvious, but Trump is not running Netanyahu. I wish that was so simple. And a lot of my friends are saying, you're wrong.
Right, the empire.
Yeah, the dog is wagging the tail. The tail is not wagging the dog. Actually, this is the wrong way of looking at it. We need something more complex here. And we need also the Epstein class and the Epstein button that Israel is holding on Trump and on many others in the West. So I don't think that society, the society of Trump and Netanyahu, is not allowing us a future. any of us, and probably capable of destroying the whole world in a matter of weeks. As long as people are going to act on this, act on their fear that this is what is prepared, we will survive and maybe even live well if we allow equality and peace and justice. We can do that. We must do it. So I don't think Israel has a future as a society because it is built on death. The same is also true about the empire. If the empire continues with its 1,000 bases, probably a little less than 1,000 this week, military bases all over the world, then all of us will perish. What we need is cultural bases, not army bases. What we need is exchanges, not fire exchanges. So I think that is why I feel that we all need to do the minimum that will finish Zionism, that will finish predatory capitalism of the kind that is now ruling us, so that we can share the future that humanity actually should share. So I'm not very optimistic, but I think the more people understand it, the safer our life will be.
Right. Well, I just do want to ask you if it's okay to respond to a couple of video clips, because do you have about 10 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. So because Dr. Marandi, the way we do the setup, wasn't able to see them, but let's take a look at some, because media analysis is just so important. Let's take a look at this clip. We have Women, Life and Freedom woman, what's her name? Masih Alinejad, who's an Iranian-American activist, propagandist. She went on CNN and spoke to Jake Tapper and ripped into leaders against regime change, including Zohran Mamdani. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Really get it how and why some of the leaders of free world, they're really allergic to the term regime change. Stop being allergic to regime change, be allergic to dictatorship. This is 21st century. Believe me, getting rid of these barbaric regime and mullahs, the people of Iran can be better allies for America, for Europe, for the free world. So yes, the history will judge those leaders who could manage to in this regime, but they decide to actually, negotiate with this regime and support this barbaric regime instead of supporting the people of Iran. One person like Zohran Mamdani, if I have time. Zohran Mamdani's statement, it really broke my heart. It really did.
Just to bring people up to speed, the mayor of New York, Mamdani, condemned the attack on Iran, describing it as an illegal war of aggression. I saw you took to Twitter to take issue with him.
Yeah, because look, we American, we have freedom, dignity, safety, democracy, everything here. And if you don't like President Trump, you can take to the street and protest against him. You have judicial system here. You have media here. We don't have any of this in Iran. And how come, Mayor Mamdani, that you lecture us, Iranians, who carry the wounds and scars of war in our body, the war being waged on us by the Iranian government, and now you lecture us about safety, security, peace, and war? You better, when you kept absolutely quiet about the massacre of 40,000 innocent people. You kept quiet, so you better keep quiet now as well. Just listen to the people of Iran. We want to have the same democracy that you're enjoying it in New York. To be honest, I don't even feel safe when he talks about safety, but no mention about the killers from Islamic Republic being sent here in this beautiful city, New York, to kill me, to kill American officials. I want to talk to my fellow American citizens. Please stand with the people of Iran. This is not about Trump. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This is not politics. This is human rights. This is about people who want to have a normal life. I have a daughter, I have a son, and I want to go back and hug my family members. This is about just having a normal life.
Okay.
I think this woman is in great need of help, is all I can say. She is really off the hook and off the wall. The Iranian people indeed need help. They've suffered the American Empire and the British Empire since 1953. And it's about time that they are left alone to do their own arrangements. And when we talk about women, actually, women in Iran have more rights than any other country in the Middle East. 60% of them actually major in a university. Now, these figures are not equaled by the United States. These figures are not equaled by any other Arab country that allows its space to be used by the United States and Israel against Iran. So I think if you do care about the Iranians, don't listen to royalists, mad royalists, I would say, that are talking about Iranians coming to kill them in the United States. It actually is a reversal of reality. I think she is attached or detached from reality, and she needs psychological help, not political analysis.
Right.
She's unable to do political analysis. She's speaking about something she doesn't understand, but she probably is in a situation that she needs urgent help. I've seen that hatred on the faces and in the words of every group of royalists that we have here, royalists that march with two very interesting groups, with the Zionists, with the worst Zionist, and with the worst racist in Britain.
Right.
So this is an alliance of hatred, and to allow those people speaking on mainstream media, which we will never be allowed to speak, arguing for peace and normality, this violent speech of hers is very, very disturbing.
Yeah, and people are saying in the comments she's like an evil Gilda Radner, which I do think is a pretty apt point. I also wanted to see if you could respond to two clips, and sorry everyone, I should offer trigger warning, of Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham. Let's hear what he had to say on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker.
Senator, let me ask you, because as you are saying, the leader, the Ayatollah Supreme Leader, is dead. Will the United States pick the next leader of Iran, or will the Iranian people pick the next leader?
I talked to the Crown Prince. He's got some ideas about transition. There will be no American boots on the ground. This is not Iraq. This is not Germany. This is not Japan. We're going to free the people up from a terrorist regime. And the goal is not only to help the Iranian people to chart a new destiny, but make sure no matter who takes over in Iran, no matter who it is, no matter who the people pick, they cannot become the largest state sponsor of terrorism. They can't fuel Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. They can't have ballistic missiles. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They will be out of the terrorism business. So the people will pick. As to the people, choose wisely. We want to be your friend. We'd like to have a good relationship with you going forward, but that is up to you.
Okay, so that's Lindsey. And then I want to play one more clip of him.
In Iran. But America First is to kill people who wish us ill with a record of trying to destroy us in the region, to take them off the table. Celebrate today, please, my Democratic colleagues, that the most evil man on the planet is no more. He terrorized his own people. 32,000 people at least had been killed protesting a better life. He was trying to get a nuclear weapon. He was building missiles to hit the United States. He was a religious Nazi that had a horrible agenda for the region and the world. He is no more. Well done, President Trump.
Okay.
All I can say is Lindsey Graham is unable to say a single sentence which is true. Everything that he said is a lie, and he knows this. So this is a man who is the worst possible example of a corrupt politician. He's not saying things that he believes in. He knows that the biggest supporter of terror, the biggest provider of terror and death is the United States and Israel, of course. It's a chaos engine. So the United States has been spreading terror, including in Iran, of course. Iran was, after the Second World War, this was the first society that the United States has invented, actually, regime change, and did the regime change and changed from an elected government to an imposed family dictator whose son is now their candidate to replace the freely elected people in Iran. So I think let me say the simple sign of decline of the American empire is people who speak like this senator, who speak like this president, who speak like the people who are now controlling the strongest military nation in the world. But intelligence is not won by military power and is not strengthened by military power. And the signs of decline are all over the American elite, the Epstein class. And he is a very good example of that class.
Can you clarify, by the way, what you meant earlier when you said Israel's Epstein button?
Well, Epstein had, I don't remember the exact number, between 5 and 10 million files.
Right.
I mean, each of those files can be huge. So we're talking about one of the greatest database of crime in the world, probably the greatest ever. I don't think any mafia organization can, compete with it. And we have to ask ourselves a simple question. I think people are asking themselves, why? What was he collecting all this for? Is an amateur collector of emails, of, kind of spicy pictures, sexy behavior, and worse, pedophilia and the rest of it. So I don't think this was just a madness of Epstein. It was functional. He was collecting evidence. Now, who was he collecting evidence for? Well, I think that's clear. Some people are trying to hide their tracks by saying that he was collecting evidence for Russia.
Oh my God.
That's a bit of a joke. Yeah.
No, Russiagate.
So if you look for who he collected the evidence for, you don't look any further. It's very clear. So this is basically a mafia collection of evidence about people that can be used by those who have the evidence, and therefore there are Epstein buttons for every politician in the West, and they use them, and they use them all the time. So first of all, you entrap a politician, and this is what Epstein has done so well. And once you entrap him on record and on camera and on email and so on, like he did to so many, even to Noam Chomsky of all people, yeah? He was a very gifted entrapper of powerful people. Once you do that, you have your Epstein button. And when we could see that President Trump was not very happy when Netanyahu came to see him, because Netanyahu came to give him orders. Yeah, he gave him the plan, and that's what you're going to do, Donald. And if you don't do that, we press the Epstein button. That's what I mean. And the signs of unhappiness were quite clear. because I don't believe Trump likes wars. There's something about that which is really strange. He doesn't like wars, and he sometimes really wants to end them, but he is unable. He's entrapped, not just by the Epstein button we're talking about, but by the people who pay for him. Yeah, the Zionist millionaires and billionaires who are financing him. All the gifts that he has collected in his very dicky business career, which is a failure. It was a failure, his business career. So what he has done is made us into a success politically. And now he is a prisoner of a whole system, which for the first time is very visible. The system is visible, the system is evident, it's very difficult to deny it. And he is very worried that more and more comes out. And that's why he's doing his best to keep the last bit of thousands and thousands of files, which include him, to remain invisible. I hope he fails, because I believe in the wish of Americans for a democracy. It has been clear every day of the existence of the United States. So I believe in the American people, like I believe in the Iranian people. I don't believe in the Israeli people because they supported by 97% the genocide in Gaza, so there is nothing to believe in. But the American people are not like that.
You called it, and this is such a great and scary term, you called the Gaza genocide the most democratic genocide in history, given the strong support that it has in Israel. And, you know, as Norman Finkelstein says, this is not a state project, it is a national project. And I think it's very easy for people to think, oh no, in Israel it's just like in every other country, you know, you have the government and the people. And I mean, there's a teeny minority of people there who I think see what Israel's doing. But it's important to remember that this is an entire, as you wrote about, I mean, this is an entirely militarized society. And you know, the fact that most of the criticism of Netanyahu is not criticism about the force he uses against Gaza. It's stuff about like judicial overhaul or failing to keep people safe on October 7th. So, sorry, but I cut you off. So, unlike Israel, you do have faith in the American people.
I just want to end by saying that yesterday, as the war started, the head of the opposition in Israel, Yair Lapid, posted something which is quite disgusting, saying there is no more government and opposition. There are no more parties. There's no more discussion about politics. We are all united in the need to finish Iran, etc. And, you know, it went into hyperbole about the war that they think they've already won by starting it. I don't think they are going to win this. Right. And these people who said there is no opposition, there's only one nation and so on. This is one nation in genocide. This is one nation in illegality and in war crimes. And that means that this nation is going to be on trial, not just its leadership.
Well, thank you so much, Chaim, as always, and very much looking forward to the next Jewish Anti-Zionist Congress, which I know you're organizing, and this time it'll be held in Dublin. We went to that last year in Vienna. It was amazing and had great speakers, not just Jewish speakers. You spoke, obviously. The great Stephen Kaposh, who we've had on before, spoke. Also, Ghada Karmi, Ilan Pappé, Ramzi Baroud, and so I'm really looking forward to attending this next one.
And of course, you spoke there yourself very forcefully.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And so as soon as you have a link to that, we'll start sharing it.
Sure. It will be sometime in a week or 10 days. I will send you the link.
Okay, great. And it's at the end of June. So people
the last weekend in June.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Haim. I'll stay on for a minute or two to read some super chats, but you are free to go. Thank you.
I feel liberated.
Okay, good.
It's even funnier when I forget what they are.
Okay, so happy to liberate Haim. And thank you all so much for watching.
What are you guys doing?
If you haven't already liked the stream, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Brad, for your work. What is it? Yeoman's work?
What's Jared doing?
Yemen's work.
Did he finish his
Wars
Blessing 2 yet?
Actually, we should start saying Yemen since they're so hardworking, and the Houthis and are
so what is Jared doing? Did he finish
Wars
Blessing 2 yet?
You are my Houthi, Brad, if I may. Also, if you are watching this live, you are so in luck because you get this 1 hour and 42-minute stream for free. If you're watching this later and you want to see the full thing, you will definitely want to become Patreon members if you're not already at patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. Again, that's patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show, because there you can see a great segment with Haim Rashid Zabner, who speaks about the Epstein button. He also reacts to Lindsey Graham and talks about why he thinks Israel is finished, and signs of the empire's decline are all over the place. And as always, please do join us on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. On 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Someone said, isn't Patreon capitalism? Well, Mr. Terrible, as you're named. I'm not calling you that. That's your name. We do live in the capitalist world system.
He said hello, and you were talking.
Read Emmanuel Wallerstein talk about that. But we do need to pay people for their work, because people
you should be more sympathetic to the ill people. You shouldn't just write them off, Justin.
And stuff like that. Rude. So that is why we have a Patreon. So patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show.
First they came for the disease, and then they came for whatever Justin is.
Yeah, I know. Stupid question. It's kind of like when people ask socialists how they can have an Apple Watch or something, or an iPhone. Please do give this a thumbs up. Please do subscribe so you don't miss any more streams. We will see you at least Tuesday night live at 7 p.m. EST. And anything else that we need to make sure people know or do, Brad?
No, I think unless you wanted to read some super chats.
Oh, yes, thank you. Let's read some super chats. Okay, really quickly. Let's see. I'm going to read some super chats that are nice. Okay, so thank you for becoming a new member, Alexander.
Somebody do my timesheet. I don't want to.
New member. Thank you for the super chat, Zubaidi. Thank you, Anne,
still don't trust
for
you.
becoming a new member. Let's see.
Excuse me?
Then I'm in your head.
Okay, no, when I say do my timesheet, what you have to do is go through all my notes and add them to the timesheet for the month of February. It's not a timesheet going forward.
Farquaad from Shrek.
Oh, thank you, Lord Farquaad. Also Donald Trump, yes.
Well, that's what the task is, and you say you do it all the time.
Katie
you don't even understand the task, and you just
free.
agree to it.
Yes, we hope that the Iranians will be free from Western aggression.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Katie Halper, oh, okay. Well, I will. Okay, this is interesting. Katie Halper, please watch the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize ceremony in full. Thanks for the super chat. Then you might think about who you have as a guest on your show. People of the world deserve better than this PR machine you support. Yeah, should I have Karina Machado on the show? The Nobel Peace Prize winner. She's great. Really inspiring regime change proponent. She's a regime change loser. She didn't even get to be named. And she's so committed to peace, and it's so embarrassing. You know, she of course offered her Nobel Peace Prize to Trump, and the Nobel Committee was upset about that. But who are they? Because they chose to give it to her. That's what you get.
But then Trump totally basically dropped her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She didn't get to be in power. Okay. I'll ask this to. I will ask this to Dr. Morandi. Can a new Ayatollah? Eduardo Dorado asks, can a new Ayatollah revoke the fatwa on nuclear war? It's a good question. Again, these people who our media portrays as like so violent and irrational and belligerent are the ones who have literally a fatwa against nuclear war. Let's see. Believe it or not, the world teacher will be seen and heard by all as soon as we're ready. Okay. Looking forward. Let's see. Super sticker from Ron, thank you. Super sticker from Karen, thank you. Super sticker from Farzan Nadim. Thank you for that. Hello from A2 Michigan. Please stay safe. Thank you for that. African People's Socialist Party knows that decolonized and oppressed people the world over are fighting against the empire. APSP plenary 417 to 419, so April 17th to 19th. That's the Uhuru people. We've had them on. Eshatella, Omali Eshatella is a great leader, and they, of course, have been persecuted and prosecuted by the U.S. government under Biden, by the way. Katie, enjoy dinner on me. You can do better. Well, thank you for that $2 contribution to dinner. And thank you for your super chats. I like when our critics donate to the show. Thank you. Super sticker from Good Natured. Okay, sorry. Zabner, you have no money and are paid for? Well, you just contradict. Mark, I think you can do better, because if he's paid for, then presumably he gets money. Yeah, he's paid by big anti-Zionist Jew lobby, the big anti-AIPAC lobby.
Yeah, I can confirm that that's not accurate.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yeah. Baluch people in the southeast are 2% of Iran's population. They don't pose a threat to the Persian core. Let's see. Okay, as an Arab, I cannot be unhappy. This is from Hocus Pocus. As an Arab, I can not be unhappy about the downfall of the Iranian regime. At the same time, I cannot be happy about the destruction of the great Persian culture. Okay. Smash that like button. Yes. New member. Thank you, John, darling. And new member from T. Newman. Thank you so much. Miranda, you have zero voice without the West. I don't know what that's about, but okay. I'm sorry, I keep selecting him. Thank you, Warloklander, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you for the super chat sticker, Zafo. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see this. Can I get a hi from Mohammed Mirandi? I will tell him, Trader ZZ, that you said hi. Thank you, Falcon, for the super chat. And let's see. Thank you for this, Naomi Digyan. We must not only learn to tolerate our differences, we must welcome them as the richness and diversity which can lead to true intelligence. That's Albert Einstein. We got a quote here from Frank Zappa, provided by Paul Gibby. Frank Zappa, when the illusion becomes too expensive to maintain, they will take down the scenery, they will pull back the curtains, they will move the tables and chairs out of the way. New member, thank you, Old Haim. Thank you for the super chat, RoboCat. Thank you for becoming a new member, Leanne. The world has two soulful capitals, Iran and Kashmir. Thank you for that. Ordak. Another new member, Mark Bulmer. Thank you, Mark. And that is it for our super chats. And we are so grateful to all of you for tuning in on this Sunday. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more of these chats, of these live streams. And thank you, Nate, as always, for the research. Thank you, Phantom Manta, for the clip. And we will see you Tuesday night, if not before then. Okay, bye, everyone.
I did everything right and they indicted me. And I don't know what the I'm doing. Antifa!
I wonder if it's ever struck you how curious a thing it is that most of the things that we experience, we regard as things that happen to us, which we ourselves do not originate, which are events expressing some sort of power or activity that is external to ourselves. And if you consider that, you realize that what you mean by yourself is rather narrowly circumscribed. Even events that go on in our own bodies are put in the category of things that happen to us in the same way as things that go on in the world outside our skins. If there's a thunderstorm or an earthquake, well, it happens to you. You're not responsible for it. But so in the same way, when you have hiccups, you didn't plan on it. If you have belly rumbles, you had no intention of doing it. And as to the catastrophic act of getting born, well, you had nothing to do with that. And you can spend all your life blaming your parents for putting you in the situation in which you find yourself. And this way of looking at the world in this sort of passive mood as something that happens to you goes right down to our general feeling about life. It goes down to the way in which, as Westerners, we have been accustomed to look at human existence as a precarious event in a cosmos that, on the whole, is depicted as being completely unsympathetic and alien to our existence.
Rude.
In other words, if you're reared with a 20th century, or shall we say an early 20th century common sense, which is based on the